Welcome back to round 11 of RMFantasySXperts. I am Chase, joined by my co-host, Christian Martinez. We are live, folks, and we are pumped to be back. If you guys watched last week, we gave a little intro show. We talked about what's going to be going down, but let's talk about it one more time. Christian, how do you feel to be back racing here in the studio for RMFantasySXperts, or should I call you Chastain?
Chastain or something. The gold app was, I don't know how you messed that one up.
Spelled your name a little wrong on there.
But no, I'm just glad to be back. I mean, I was starting to worry that it might not even happen, and yeah, it feels like we've been gone for 5 years.
It does. It feels like a very long time. And shout out to everyone who is already commenting on this live feed. Remember, if you're watching this, we want to see your comments below as we go through the show. We want to do some bench racing with you guys. We want to know your thoughts on how this championship's going to, play out, how tonight's going to go for the first round back in Salt Lake City. Speaking of, the next 7 rounds are right here in our very own backyard at Rice Eccles Stadium. I'm pumped for that.
I mean, it's nice to have it in the backyard.
It is.
It's right there. The stadium's nice. The scenery's good. Track looks good, too. So
I know. And we had a lot of people complaining during the year, before the whole COVID-19 thing started that, they were mad that the last round was going to be in Salt Lake City, Utah. Well, I got news. Now we have 7 of them. So,
better get used to it, I guess.
Now, just remember the last 7 rounds, yes, are right here in Salt Lake City, Utah. You can watch on the NBC Sports Gold app. All of them will be live on TV as well. To see the race schedule, you can click on the link in the description of this video. You can go to supercrosslive.com. But remember, not all races are going to be going at the same time. So it is important to tune in and know what time the races are going to start the night show, because just like normal, you have to have your picks in before the night show starts. So get your picks in. But again, you can see that schedule. And we're going to be coming to you live after each and every week, right after the last practice qualifying session with Ricky and Ralph. And we're going to be going over practice. We're going to talk about the race, the track layout, giving you rider stats, everything that these riders or these players need to know to maximize their points and make their picks.
We're just really stepping it up because now we can talk about practice, our stats, our info, or right up to the last minute to really help you get your picks in at the last second. So
I know, and Wendy Goodchild is just going crazy right now on the comments. She is loving it. But we want to hear you guys' thoughts, so make sure to do that. But before we dive into this, we got to go back a ways because the last race we had was Daytona.
A long time ago.
It feels like it was last year, but we got to keep it up with the regular routine. So here it is. This is our race recap. So, Christian, winding back to Daytona, this is a long time ago, but a lot of people, a little bit hazy in some people's memories. So let's refresh their brains a little bit. Let's talk about what happened there. So we had Daytona. Tomac won his 4th Daytona race.
Qualified first there, too.
So Tomac took the win there. Here he was. It was a very late pass on Ken Roczen. Kenny gave him a run for his money right there towards the end, but Eli brought it home for his 4th one. So Tomac, that was just an amazing race all around. But what were some of your highlights that you think really stood out?
I mean, we got to talk about the death whoops that everyone was struggling through, even Ricky. So, I mean, a lot of these riders are lucky to get out of that with what they did, I feel like.
This was the first set of the first heat race with the 250s.
Yeah, he needs some milk.
That wasn't even a bad one. If you look at this next one here, look at this. Chase Sexton hit that guy so hard, his goggles flew off.
Yeah, it could have been so bad.
Watch from this other angle. He hits him so hard, his goggles fly off. It even took out the Alpine Stars medical crew. This guy running right here. Wait for it.
He's hauling.
Oh, here it is. Watch this guy's goggles right here.
Boom.
They flew off. It was absolute carnage. So
yeah, I'm just glad everyone made it out.
Yeah, even Ricky Carmichael almost went down in the whoops.
Yeah, you can't forget that.
Look at this. Ricky, what's going through your mind right here? We want to know.
Jeff would probably call that a huckabuck. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Norco Ride Red. Daytona was a rad race to watch. And then some other things that stood out to me is Ryan Sipes almost killed Justin Barsha. Yeah. Look at this right here. Ryan Sipes, there's Barsha.
For it.
Oh, he
so
was
close.
Inches away from landing on top of Barsha. That was pretty gnarly.
Yep.
But probably, for me, other than Tomac winning his 4th, my biggest highlight that I'm so proud of is Garrett Marchbanks.
Oh, yeah.
This young man right here, 18 years old. He's right here from Roosevelt, Utah.
Taking his stash to the top of the podium. I loved it.
That's right. Led it from the first lap all the way to the end. His first 250 Supercross win. So congrats to him. He will be racing tonight on the East 250 Supercross
I loved his podium interviews. I want to see more.
Absolutely. Well, Dan Larrabee, it is great to be back as well. Blitz MX, you got it, Cole. I don't know who Cole is, but you got it. Well, hey, so that's your race recap from Daytona. Here's a look at the lap chart just to real quickly kind of give you an idea of what was going on during that race. Interesting thing here, Tomac, he charged up on a track that a lot of us didn't think he'd be able to do it on.
Fast track. So,
but look at Dean Wilson. That's kind of interesting.
He's the only rider.
Straight line. He's the only rider who didn't didn't get past or pass anybody the entire race. So it's pretty cool to see.
I love those charts.
Your results, though, it was Tomac, Roczen, Cooper Webb, Jason Anderson, Barsha in 5th place, and Justin Brayton taking the wild card in 10th place.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a good night of racing. What did you guys think? What were some of your favorite moments from Daytona Supercross? Leave them in the comment sections. We want to see. Look at that. Mr. Weird West has got he's got Webb to win tonight, Tomac in 2nd, Roczen 3rd, AC in 4th. Interesting.
I like the Bowers and Reed for the wild card, though. I'm with
That
you
is
on
a good pick. All right, Plessinger for the wild card, huh, Gleno? All right, well, let's talk about points real quick because we know a lot of you that are playing. Obviously we had an end to the season a little bit early. We had this big break, so a lot of people are wondering, like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
What are we doing with points? Do not worry. Nothing has changed. If you were on the leaderboard, nothing has moved. You guys are still right there. Points are going to resume as normal.
Yep.
Look at that. We got Kid Dub right there on the top at 681.
Here's who you're chasing. Parts Man 1967.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at that. Caitlin down by just 1 point in second place right now. So the
It's an
leaderboard
intense
is
battle.
tight. And here's why people want to be playing RMFantasySX with us. If you don't know yet, we give away amazing grand prizes at the end of the year. Up for grabs, we've got a Race Prep KTM 450 SXF Factory Edition.
Yep.
We've got a 250 SX two-stroker given away this year.
People are pumped.
Amazing grand prize. We got a Monster Energy Cup VIP trips, one of my favorites. I love the Monster Cup. Dunlop tires for a year for 4th place. Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, it's a good day.
That is not bad. You can see Alpine Stars, Tusk. We got a Honda generator, Fly. Milestone video games and a console, 4K TV. We got Motion Pro. We got Oakley in there. That's just the grand prize at the end of the year.
Yep.
We also give away 100 weekly prizes.
Well, roundly prizes now, since we're getting 2 rounds a week.
That's true.
So.
There's going to be a lot of prizes we're giving out. So, yes, it is good to see Wilson being back on the podium. Kelsey, he is looking good today. He qualified really well. It's going to be about that start. We'll talk more about that. But that's why you want to be playing RMFantasySX, because of the amazing prizes that we give away. Here's a shot of the weekly prizes. But let's talk about points real quick. Christian, what do we got here?
Well, points between me and you in fantasy, I'm definitely not doing well.
Yeah, you don't want to bring that up right now.
No.
You are, 351 on 474. So,
yeah, I've been picking with my heart way too much this year.
See, we kind of switched roles this year. You were picking with your heart a little bit more. I've been trying to stick to the stats, even though sometimes I don't want to, and it's paid off for me a little bit.
We do have to talk about, the users dominated in Daytona. We had 670 perfect scores. That was the most we've ever had in one round. Average points was the highest this year, obviously. 50% of players got at least 3 picks correct. So if Tomac wins, it tends to be a big night for fantasy points.
Right.
So Blake Baggett was picked in the top 5 by 27% of players. Most picked rider not to make the top 5, so that was kind of a bummer. I'm pretty sure I was one of them. So, yeah. Picks were just good all around for Daytona.
They were. Clint Walter thinks that Eli is going to kick some major beep today. We'll see how that goes. He could. It's going to be very dependent on that start. But so those are the stats. Now, one thing we do need to talk about is, as far as rider injuries go, it's important to know that Marvin Muscan is not going to be racing tonight. Yep. Yeah, he's not racing tonight. Joey Savacci will not be back. But
Tickle is back.
Tickle Miomo is going to be back racing tonight. And so pumped to see this. Adam Cianciarulo is also going to be back tonight as well. It's just good to see good riders mixing it up. We need that. We need it for the viewers. So good to see those guys back.
This is awesome for AC more than anyone, I think, because, we might not have even seen him back the rest of the season if this didn't happen. So I'm glad to see him back.
But what do you guys think? Put in the comments section. Where do you guys put AC tonight? He's had a long break because he had that injury. Do you put him in your top 5? Looks like Alejandro Jimenez got Ken, Webb, Cianciarulo right there. Baggett in 4th. That's a good pick. Baggett did podium here the last time we raced in Salt Lake. And Wilson in the top 5.
There we go. Marco. I was about to say, I'm really feeling AC for the win. I was looking at his starting averages. This type of track, I'm with Marco right there.
Jason's got him in 2nd. MX dude for 1st.
There we go. Troy Mason's getting on that train. AC for 1st. I really think I'm going to do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people putting him in the top 5. But let's jump into it because, like we said, the last 7 rounds are going to be right here in Salt Lake City, Utah. A big question people are asking a lot is, are they going to change the track for each round? The answer is yes.
As much as they can.
The finish line area is going to stay the same, but they are going to change the track around that. So it's not going to be the same track every weekend. So, but let's get into it. This is track trends for round 11, Salt Lake City, Utah. So, Christian, rewinding just a little bit, we go back to 2018 because we didn't race here. Yeah, 2019, we skipped it. But what were the results in 2018?
Well, you got to remember, Marvin came back and won. Tomac took 2nd. Baggett was leading. We thought he was going to win it for us, that race.
Yeah.
Actually crashed. Christian Craig, though, had speed that day up to 4th and Barsha 5th. So, but Salt Lake City just tends to be a hard pack, dry. It was way windy and dusty that race. Yep. Another day race as well.
I remember I was down there on the stadium that day. We were doing an award for the owner of our company, Dan Thomas, and yes, it was windy like to say the least.
Tornado
you were down there with me, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't open our eyes because there was so much dust in them.
I was trying to get interviewed. I couldn't
Moto
see.
X, Savacci is not back. He is going to be poised for outdoors, but no, he is not racing any Supercross. Elevation for Ken Roczen and, windy. I don't think you need to worry about that. No. These guys are the fittest athletes on earth, so not too much to worry about there. But as far as the track goes, we've looked at the track layout here. Pretty basic track to start off round 11. If you look at it, you've got a small whoop section, which really isn't going to be a factor for a lot of these riders.
No.
The rhythm sections, watching practice today, not really anything that we saw that's going to
It looks like it's going to come down to that second rhythm section.
Second
look like where the action
section
was happening, a lot of different options there.
Yeah, they come out of that turn, they have to kind of triple out. That's the fast line. This track is really going to be about the start. But real quickly, we got to go back to, what was it, 2017 when Eli Tomac, Salt Lake City, the track was nothing spectacular. It was a regular track, kind of like today. Eli Tomac was basically dead last off around the first turn. He came back to pass Ryan Dungey and win that race.
He fought through the entire
by 5
pack.
or 6 seconds.
Yeah, that was a loud crowd that night.
And we've seen so far this year that really, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this, is that Tomac, in my opinion, so far is the only rider who has shown that even when a track might not be a lot of separators on it and nothing too spectacular, he's the only guy who can still make up time. It's exactly what he did in Daytona.
Certain tracks might be a little harder for him to do it, but he's going to do it no matter what track it is. So,
but you know what? We have some other input that we want to get because we've talked about the track. We've talked about practice a little bit. We saw Ken Roczen on the top of the board. Tomac's right there. The top 16 guys are barely within a second of each other.
That's why as soon as we started seeing that, we started looking up starting averages.
Yep.
And that's why I was really leaning AC. A lot of people forget he has the second best starting average this year of the race he's been in. So,
but well, Tickle didn't post a time because he went down in the first session. So hopefully he's going to be back. But you know what though, we've got a very special guest that's going to be calling in right now because Daniel Blair, who is trackside, who watched practice, he's going to give us his thoughts on what's going on right now. So if you guys have questions for Daniel, leave them in the comment sections while we're talking to him. But let's get his thoughts on
his expertise.
So Daniel Blair, let's get him on the phone. Daniel.
Guys, I'm here. And when I say here, I mean here.
You are literally an hour up the road from us right now at Rice-Eccles Stadium. How are you doing? It's good to be back. Good to hear your voice. Glad to have some racing back with us. How are things going?
Oh, it's going great. Every year, round one, there's always that little bit of energy because it's just round one and whatever. This is a different energy because we just didn't know if we were coming back. It's like, what are we going to do? And there's just this like uptick in anticipation and energy. Everyone's fired up, and man, qualifying was fun. I think the stage is set, and let's go. Let's get racing.
Yeah. I'm glad to have you back out there. It was good insight you had off the starting line and showing what they were doing with that other stack of dirt to keep it from getting too dusty and slick. So you did a good job out there.
Well, Daniel,
Thanks,
I guess the question is, you were down there watching practice, and the track doesn't look too difficult. It's all the riders are doing the same rhythms, and we looked at the top 16 are only separated by about a second. So what in your opinion tonight is going to be the big factor that's going to either give the win to a rider or you're going to finish 5th or 6th? What has to happen to win tonight?
Yeah, a couple of things. First, you guys were talking about the start, and that's important no matter what. That's in a racing sport, getting up front early is always going to be key. But when you have that many guys that are going that speed, it's so much more important because if you get a 10th place start, you have 9 guys in front of you who are probably running near the same pace. And the thing is the track is a little bit on the simple side, so everyone's going to be pushing hard. And you've seen guys like Tomac make their way through the field, and when they have, it's usually when guys are kind of making mistakes. They're like a little bit, I guess, cautious with the track. But when the track's like this and everybody can push wide open, it's going to make passing hard in the beginning. So it's like if you get a 10th place start, the challenge is going to be like how much moves can you make early? Because once it spreads out and guys start to kind of fatigue and wear out, then a guy like Tomac can pick them off one by one. But by that point, if Ken Roczen hole shots, he's gone. So you don't have to hole shot to win this race. But man, if you want to be successful here, you've got to be in the top 5. And if you're out of that, you're just putting yourself in such a bad spot early because again, these guys are going to be pushing so much harder. It's hard to pass when guys are riding aggressive. When they're riding defensive, you can make moves, but the start's going to be the key. And then we talked about it in the show. Ricky mentioned 30 laps probably. And
wow.
I can tell you guys, look, physically, it's going to be the same. It's 20 plus 1. The body will do the same thing as it normally does when you practice. But when you get around 20 laps in, I think your brain starts going like, man, I've done a lot of laps. It's feeling repetitive, and you start looking for the white flag and looking for that timer. And so I think mentally the challenge is going to be, staying focused late when you start feeling a little bit like the repetition's getting to you. So, I think that's going to be the key. It's going to be the first 5 laps, being up in the top 5, and then the last 5 laps, just not losing that focus because it's going to be hard.
Well, that's my question for you, because Tomac gets picked to win by the majority every race, but what's the over-under? Like, where does he have to start to have a realistic chance to win in this?
Is this a track like we saw in 2017 where
like
Tomac
place?
can get a last place start and charge and win by 5 seconds? Is that possible on a track like tonight and with this field? Is that possible?
I want to know your tipping point of him off the start.
There you go.
Okay, I mean, I'd say it really just depends on who hole shots, but I believe right now today, this first one back, I'd say 7 or 8. You saw in 2017 what he did, but you got to remember that was late in the season, and that guy had found a roll and a speed. That was building over a period of a month.
Yeah.
So even though the track was kind of similar and generic, he had found a speed that nobody had at that point. Where this is the first one back. I think everybody's fresh, and I don't feel like it's got that late season vibe where guys are kind of mailing it in. You're going to see guys coming out swinging today, and that's a lot harder to move through a pack where guys are aggressive and they're here to do something. Where in 2017, I felt like there was only 2 guys who really had anything at stake. Everyone else was just clicking them off, so Eli was able to make his way through. I don't think that would work today. That's why I'd say somewhere in that top 10. But not only that, the first 3 laps, he's got to go from 10 to 5 or 7 to 4
before they start getting
because
gapped out.
Kenny or AC hole shot on an easy track where there's not going to be much that can bite them, you just can't. They're going to have a hard time running those guys down right out of the gate today.
Absolutely. We had one person here, Sal, commented and said AC can't hold it together for that many laps. We'll see what happens with him. Whoa. The people have spoken, Daniel. I think AC is a solid top 5 guy, but what do you think? You put him in there tonight?
Better than that, and I'll give it for 2 reasons. Number one, let me give you a little insight from the pits, all right? So I talked to Adam today. He's talking about some bike changes he made before he came here, mostly to the shock. And I asked him, like, what were you looking for? And he said, I wanted something a little less reactive that I felt might not work on my very, very, very fastest laps, but it's going to work better for me the distance. You know what I mean? So it's like he almost is sacrificing a setting that he feels he could be really, really fast on with a setting that he can go the distance.
A little more forgiveness?
Yes. And he wasn't your fastest qualifier for, the first time ever this year?
First time.
So I think we're already seeing, hey, maybe not that top-end speed, but now he has a bike and a setting that he feels can go the distance, that 30 laps. And I don't know. It's him being a good starter and maybe, again, changing his approach to being less of a top-end speed guy and more of a 20-plus-1 guy. I get that we've seen him fall apart late this year, but this is almost a new year. It's a new chapter of this season, and I think we're going to see a different guy. I really do.
Interesting. One of our viewers asked, did Tomac's foot peg, is that what blew out AC's front wheel in practice? Is that something that you heard or saw?
I think it is. So in the moment, we didn't really know, but we're kind of going through the footage. We're trying to find out, like, what happened. And then he dove in there on the inside, and that might have been it. I got to go ask him to find out if that's when it happened because it was so quick. So, yeah, I'll get confirmation on that, let you guys all know. But for the most part, I'm going to lean towards that probably being the factor because, I mean, you don't often see 5 spokes ripped right out of there.
No, not off an impact. Those are ripped out.
No, an impact would get you a flat tire.
Yep.
But as far as actually ripping the spokes out, that's got to be from something exterior. So, yeah, let's just say Eli did it. It was team-on-team crime, man.
So I guess a lot of people are asking the question, we're in Salt Lake City, Utah. It's higher elevation. My opinion, I don't think it really matters, but have you been hearing anything from any of the riders as far as is the elevation, with shorter lap times, and if we're going to be doing what we said, a bajillion laps, 30 laps, do you think elevation can be a factor for some of these riders, like a Jason Anderson or a Roczen?
Well, it's funny you mentioned those two because, yes, Eli gets the nod on being the most comfortable in this situation. But Anderson went back to New Mexico a few weeks ago to get, adapted to this because he's had a weird reaction. And I think he knew, like, hey, if I get into the elevation early and have any problems, I can work through it a few weeks ago. He had a track built in New Mexico. I mean, he made the adjustment with his entire program. So I think he'll be okay. You got to remember, he grew up in altitude. So he knows what this is. He just had that weird issue for a couple of years because he was away from it so much. But I think he'll be fine. And then you got to remember, Kenny, too, Utah is like a second home for him. He comes here a lot in the off season and does a lot of fun stuff with the family. So I think he's got a little bit more history here than some would think. And I think they're going to be fine. And we'll find out.
Kenny, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh,
no, I was going to say lap 7, we'll find out because these guys, when the gate drops, they hold their breath because it's just intense. And in elevation, once you lose it, you don't get it back. Yeah. So I think it's going to be really, really tough for these guys to control their emotions and intensity right out of the gate. Make sure they don't lose that breath because once you lose it, it's hard to get it back, and then your body will follow. Once you lose the oxygen, the rest of the body follows. So, I mean, if I'm these guys, I am breathing a lot the first 5 laps to make sure I don't run out. And then once I settle in, I think they'll be fine.
Sure. No, I agree with that because I do a lot of mountain biking here. And, most of my mountain bike rides I do are probably around 5,000, 6,000 feet. But there's sometimes where I'll start a ride at about 8,000 feet. And that 3,000 feet of difference, I can feel it affect me more. I am more winded in a shorter period of time right when I start a ride. So absolutely, I think it will affect it. But like Zach Court said in our comments here, don't count Jason Anderson out because like you said, Daniel, he's been training for multiple weeks in New Mexico, trying to get acclimated. So
he's always done well up here. It definitely affects him, but he's always done well up here. So,
hey, you got to think about this too, these guys, depending on how they feel, you can really get a sense of how they approach the qualifying. Anderson looked way more aggressive than I saw him earlier in the year. Every time I look to find him, I'm watching the monitor, so I see what you see. But I do like to look around just to see if there's other things that we need to keep an eye out. And I kept noticing him multiple times, just pushing. And you got to think he's not really in a spot right now where he's fighting for a championship. He's all alone in 5th. So there's nothing really for him to prove other than just pure results. And you could tell there's a kick in his intensity. And I expect him to be very good here. I mean, he hasn't had a win since halfway through his championship season. It's been so long, and he wants one bad. And I don't count him out. No way count Jason Anderson out getting a win tonight or today. Sorry.
I agree.
Last question we have for you, real quick, Daniel, before we let you go. Justin Barcia Cooper Webb. Barcia won A1. He has been on the podium since then. He's been a solid top 5 guy. Do you 2 questions. 1, can Barcia win one of these last 7 rounds? And 2, does Cooper Webb have a shot at this championship?
So with Barcia, of course, I think he has a shot at it. The talent that he has, the bike and the team that he has, because they've really gelled. They've really figured things out over there. I think he's got a shot at it. I was a little concerned with his qualifying time. He definitely wasn't, getting noticed by being up front. So I'm a little concerned, but at the same time, he's a gamer. I think once the gates drops, if he gets a good start and up front, he's aggressive. He's got something to fight for. He's publicly stated multiple times, I need top 3 in this title to kick my 21 contract into gear. So he's got something to fight for as much as anybody. And for Webb, mathematically, yes, he has a chance. But here's what's going to have to happen. The best 7 rounds he's ever put together in his entire career, he's going to have to do it now. And he's going to have Ken Rocks and Eli Tomac both lay an egg individually on their own at one of them. And honestly, I could see it happening with one, but you're asking 2 guys who have been so solid to both blow one. It's mathematically, yes.
It's a big ask. It's a big ask.
Crazier things have happened.
And could you imagine if that guy starts the season off with 2 weeks of being extremely sick and then does the most spectacular crash we've seen in a long time in Arlington. If he comes here and just cleans off 7 flawless rounds and gets himself back in range and pulls this off, oh my God.
We'll have to make a movie about him.
One for the history books.
It would be, as good as it would be for Cooper, it would be the most devastating thing I've ever seen in the sport for Ken and Eli, because they should not give up the points to Cooper Webb. They shouldn't do it.
Agreed.
All right. I love it.
Daniel, man, we appreciate you calling in. Glad to see you. And you're going to be here for all 7 rounds, right? You can be up there doing this each and every week?
You know the rules, guys. I ain't going nowhere. Home sweet home, Salt Lake City.
Temporary resident up there.
Well, hey, let's go grab some dinner, all right? Since you flaked on us a few years ago in Vegas, okay? People don't forget.
I know. It'd been so much back and forth crap talking. I was sick of you guys. I couldn't do dinner with you guys.
Did you take your trophy up there with you? You sleeping with that thing, putting it by your nightstand?
Jim Hawley has it, and he's not here. So the trophy is in SoCal.
Jim's been doing daily updates and daily phone calls. We talk to Jim a lot around here. Well, Daniel, hey, thank you so much for the insight. I think the fans here watching this, they've loved the insight. They like the information. So thanks again, and we definitely look forward to talking to you some more about this as the following rounds continue. So have fun tonight, and we'll see how it turns out.
Yep.
Thanks, boys. It's going to be fun, and thanks for having me on. Let's go. Let's drop the gate and get racing.
Let's do it. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
I saw Cole Fisher on here. He put this year ? Barsha Eli Tomac argument. When Tomac said, Barsha, have you ever passed somebody without touching him? Barsha, this year?
Oh,
this
my
year?
gosh. That was epic, dude.
We need a soundbite of that so we can play it during the show. It'd be pretty funny.
Look at 239 SWFL, though, saying Tickle re-broke his wrist. Is that why he pulled off?
Oh, my gosh.
So take that into account.
That hurts. Webb won't win it, says Dan. It's Kenny and Eli's till the end. Last race will be spectacular. I hope you are right. I hope it is a showdown come that round 17 in Vegas. That would be epic. So
now it's time to just get into some stats, help these people make these picks.
Let's talk about your picks. So here it is. This is Top Contenders. All right, so with this, obviously Eli Tomac is probably going to be the number one picked rider. There's no doubt in my mind about
Qualifying first.
Qualifying first. Well, it qualified second.
Or second, yeah.
Second to Kenny, but he's won 3 of the last 4 rounds and 4 out of the last 6 rounds. He just won Daytona. He's in Salt Lake City where he's done well. What do you do with him tonight?
I was all on that bandwagon, putting him first, but then we started seeing the track. A lot of people saying it's simple, might be a little one-lined. Starts are going to matter more than ever, so I'm actually sliding him out of my top spot.
But here's the problem I see with Tomac. As much as I want to put him in first place, his average start this year in standard rounds is 5.8. Ken Roxon's,
it's gotten a lot better.
It has, but Kenny has the best average start per main this year of 3.43. So that, like I said, that's the biggest deciding factor of what I would do with Eli Tomac is where can he start? Like Daniel said, he's got a small window of about 5th to 7th place where he could start and maybe close that gap and catch up. What do you guys think? Can Tomac close the gap if he starts outside the top 10? Is that even possible tonight on this track?
I'm not going to say he can't do it, but it would be tough. But
Joe's
you got to look.
3. The races start at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Soon, so less or a little over an hour. But I'm looking at Tomac. Adam Cianciarillo, Roxon, Webb, Baggett, and Anderson all have better average starts.
Yeah.
I think that means something.
It's been his Achilles heel for years now, but it makes for some exciting racing when he gets a bad start.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay, what about Ken Roxon?
Let's talk about Kenny. He does have the best start.
Fastest qualifier.
Yeah, fastest qualifier, best average start per main this year. He's only finished worse than 3rd one time in the last 9 rounds, so
he's been
super consistent.
And if you go back to, was it Arlington, the Triple Crown, where he won all 3 main events on a hard-packed track, he got killer starts every round. Tomac had good starts that night too. Yeah. But are you going to put Kenny to win tonight? Or are you sticking?
I'm really going between Kenny and AC.
Really?
I mean, you got to look at Roxon. He's led the most laps, 137 than anybody. I mean, by far. And I just like those starts. I mean, the best starters this year, Roxon, AC. I'm going to pick one of them to win tonight.
Here's what I would say about Roxon. He has led laps in 7 of the last 9 rounds. That is important. Yeah. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Cooper Webb. Well, actually, him and Justin Barsh are battling right now for 3rd place. We heard Daniel say that Cooper Webb, if he does come back to win this championship, it'll be the all-time, one of the all-time greatest comebacks from a points deficit, especially when Tomac and Roxon are riding so well, and how I can see it, how demoralizing, how just horrible it would be for these guys. Yeah, but here's what I'm thinking about Cooper Webb tonight. I'm thinking he's a fire-breathing dragon. This man is a scrapper.
I just see him as like a pit bull.
Super good starter. His average gate drop is 3.43, so he's right there next to Kenny. He's a scrappy guy, but he's only led 5 laps this season.
It's weird, but I mean, he did have a rough start to the season. He was coming on late. So
now he's fully healed from that crash. In his last 4 overall finishes of 3, 3, 12, 2, and that
tells you
12 was
right
that
there.
overall in Arlington when he had that back crash. So he's a podium guy, but can you put him ahead of Webb and Tomac right now? I'm not sure. But Tomac wins a title, retires to take care of his kid, Michael. I don't know, Michael. He's
Is he going to Dungey it?
I don't know.
Pull a Dungey on
Shane
us?
Wilkes is getting in on this. But let's talk about it. Justin Barcia Law this year. This year?
I mean, he's been stringing together top 5s, whether you like it or not. Last 4 overall finishes, 5-2, 4-4. Hasn't finished out of the top 5 since round 5 in Oakland. And he's only finished worse than 6 one time this season. That's insane. So I like him. He's been getting awesome starts. I'm still putting him like those last 4 overall finishes, though, around the 4th, 5th range for me.
Okay.
What do you think?
Man, I just don't. His starts have not been as good. Like, he's been making good charges through the pack, honestly, but his starts have not been what you would expect from Barcia, and that's kind of like his big thing right here. His average finish per main event gate drop is good. It's 4.86, but his starts have not been there.
I mean, look at his last 4 starts in standard rounds: 4, 11, 14, and 7.
Yeah.
But you got to give him respect for that. Atlanta, he started 11th, took 2nd.
Well, that's what I mean, though. But maybe he could have won, but the start prevented that.
Yeah.
So
what I like, though, is he can move up through the pack if he has to. I like that.
If Barcia can rip a good start tonight, I could see him being on the podium. What do you guys think? A lot of people talking about Barcia in their top 5. A lot of people thinking AC is going to get the win. Yeah, we talked about the whole shots in practice. Some people are taking that for Tomac. Did get a good start in that second qualifier. Yeah. So did AC. So did Kenny.
He's got to be fired up. He wants no asterisk. He wants to extend the lead.
That's right. So that's your top contenders. Now let's talk about some of the riders that could possibly spoil it for these guys and crack the top 5. Here they are, our weekly spoilers. All right, I am laying him out on the table right now as we speak. We've got Jason Anderson, we've got Aaron Plessinger in there, Dean Wilson, who qualified first up until that last section. Who else do you guys think? Is there any other riders in here? We got like Malcolm Stewart. Who else could?
Justin Hill.
Justin Hill. Let me get his out. Now you guys are seeing what goes on behind the scenes when we're getting ready for these. We got Malcolm Stewart up there. Yeah, Justin Hill. Heck, why not? What do you think, though? What do you think about these guys?
I think we got to rank them by the best chance they have, and I'm saying Jason Anderson's got to be at the top of this list.
I would not disagree with you on that.
I'm even going Dean Wilson second. I mean, he's looking fast today.
Yes,
Justin
Case
Hill.
Snyder, 812, really, Aaron Plessinger.
The man has been solid.
The last place in Daytona. He's been getting good starts. I'm not saying he's going to be in the top 5, but if he rips off a good start, can he be? Absolutely.
Oh, he's done it before.
Come on, don't take credit from the man that sings country karaoke.
And wears the Spartan helmets and stuff, but no, I like Plessinger. But you got to start off with Anderson. Last 5 overall finishes: 4, 11, 3, 10, 14. So it hasn't been great. So this is kind of like a reset for him. I see it. Like Daniel's saying, he looks motivated. And we all know, he's done good in Utah before, even if the elevation affects him. So
yeah,
but he's only been on the podium 1 standard round this year.
Oh, sorry, I'm just laughing because Case Snyder just responded, sorry. Hey, I didn't mean to burn you. It's all
no,
like
we're all friends here.
Yeah, we're all friends. We're just getting fired up. I love it. Don't worry. Steve Brinkart, I've got Blake Baggett's number plate right here in my hand.
Baggett's got to be mentioned.
What about Dean Wilson? Where would you stick this guy? He just qualified really good. He's been consistent all year. He's been in that top 10. So he's got his last 4 overall finishes of 7, 10, 9, 6. His last 3 starts haven't been too bad, 7, 6, 8. Is he a top 5 guy tonight, though? That's the real question that people want to know.
I mean, his time's looking good. He qualified 5th overall. Yeah. I mean, he's top 5 before. And in this type of simple track, he pulls a start like he did in A1, was it a year ago or something, and ran up there for a while. He could do it.
But here's the thing, though, is Wilson has not made it in the top 5 since round 14 of Nashville last season. So that is something that's going to be that's
there. Can't argue with that. But
all right. What about Malcolm Stewart here? Talk about this man, because
I have a strategy with Malcolm.
I don't know how he has not cracked the top 5 yet this year. He's probably the fastest rider to not do it yet in his 450 career.
Oh, easily.
He's finished either in 7th 3 times or 8th 4 times in 7 of the last 8 rounds.
Yeah.
So you know what? Honestly, I'm going to take Blake Baggett over Malcolm Stewart in my top 5 with that.
I have a strategy with Malcolm. We all love the guy. There's no better guy than Malcolm, but he throws down a heater. I think, like you said, he can put down a fast lap. He tempts you to pick him, but he's never top 5, and it's kind of hard to pick him until he does. So my strategy, if your friends aren't watching this, maybe push them towards Malcolm. Make them pick Malcolm. You pick someone else, and it might help you in the end. We'll see if that works out.
I don't know. Sandus has got Dino in his top 5 for sure, he says. So I could see Dino cracking the top 5. I really could, honestly. Him and Anderson.
This would be the track to do it.
But what about Blake Baggett? Because Baggett last time he podiumed. He had a really good race.
He was running out front for a while, just kind of had a little bobble.
Yeah.
But
what about Aaron Plessinger, though? We talk about this, man. I think there's a lot of people that he hasn't quite lived up to what people thought he was going to, but he has been getting better. His last 3 overall finishes are 6, 7, 8.
I mean, the last 4 rounds, he's improved every round, which you got to be loving that.
And he started in 3rd in Daytona. He dropped to 6th, but he stayed right there. So, but is he a top 5 guy? I just don't know. Not with everyone being healthy.
He's a longer shot
because we still have AC who's back. So it's going to be tough. But those are kind of some of the wild card, the weekly spoilers. What do you guys think? Who could do it? We got some people here throwing out the 7 deuce deuce. Hill for the wild card from William Schumann. The wild card's 15th. You really think Hill's
I don't think Hill's going to be back that
Hill's
far
not
back.
A 15th place guy. Oh, come on, John Bork. I said last week, we're trying to pretend like we didn't have this giant break, all right? It's all right. But here we are. We got to talk about it, probably the most important pick in fantasy, because if you get these right a few times throughout the year, you're going to be doing pretty good. So here it is the wild card watch. We got Chiz for 15th place, huh? Hal Jarvis has got number 10. Who do you guys have in your wild card this week? Martin Davalos for the wild card. Wait. There it is. All right. Well, let's put him up here. We got Vince Freeze.
It's just a go-to at any place.
Like you just heard it, Martin Davalos. He has a good one. Oh, we didn't talk about Zach Osborne.
Yeah, Zach.
What? Gosh. What do you guys think? Comment real quick. Is Zacho a top 5 guy
qualifying
this week?
10th, but he's made the top 5 qualifying that far back before. So
yeah. Man, Adam McNabb, I would love to see a contender for 15th, but with how stacked it is right now and how many good guys there are, that's tough to make. Some people said Brayton, so I'll throw him up here. Chad Reed, we have a red number plate for this man, but he's actually on a KTM now.
I heard he was looking a little uncomfortable on it.
Really?
But
ugh. Well, you know what happens when you try and switch a bike in the middle of the season.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, no, because it rarely happens, But
let's just talk about it real quick because Chad Reed is the wild card, the people's champ.
I think him and Freezy are battling over it right now.
So Chad Reed's last 3 overall finishes are 13, 15, 13. That's looking pretty good. And his overall finish on the East Coast Standard Rounds is 15.67. So,
well, that's with the AC coming back in. It's going to bump him back a spot, I'm sure.
Looking pretty good. But what about my boy, Martin Davalos?
Martin Davalos, I hope he stopped by, said hi to you and the fam. You're a super fan, but let's look at his last 4 overall. 14, 5, 17, and 14. So he's kind of just a wild card in himself. He could be anywhere.
Yep.
But he's finished behind where he started in the last 6 main event gate drops. He's finished 15th overall 2 times this season. So it seems like he's around that range if he's not busting a top 5 out of nowhere.
That is true. Tyler Bowers is another good pick for the wild card. Him and Kyle Chisholm. Kyle Chisholm has actually finished, this man right here.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Bowers, excuse me. This guy, he's done pretty good this year. His average finish in standard rounds is 16.57, and he's finished 15th or 16th 5 times this season. That's looking pretty good for a wild card pick. Yeah. You look at Kyle Chisholm on the Hep Suzuki. Let's talk about him real quick.
He's finished between 15th and 18th overall the last 6 rounds. Yep. Average of finish of 16th overall in the East Coast, even though we're back on the West technically. But has finished better than where he started in the last 2 rounds. That's what I like. Even if he gets not the greatest start, he's still pushing for every spot.
Yeah.
So,
but Dan Larrabee put here 37 is fast, but question mark? Yeah. We got some people shouting out. Rich H got Benny Bloss up there for 15.
I think Bloss is better than that as well.
Benny Bloss was one of those 16 riders within a second of Ken Roxon on the top of the leaderboard.
I'm putting Bloss ahead of that.
I wouldn't put Bloss that far back, but
JS7 always a solid pick. I agree.
Some people got Roger DeCoster up there. You never know. But those are some of your top picks for the wild card. Again, make sure get your picks in. They have to be in before the night show starts. Well, I guess day show you want to call it this week because it's starting at 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time.
Justin Barsha actually qualified 15th, so there's that.
There is that. But before we get into it and we talk about prizes and why you want to be playing, because we already talked about it a little bit. First, Christian, you know what time it is.
It's time to lock them in.
Let's do it.
This is gonna be real hard now because this usually takes us 10 minutes to figure out.
If you don't know this, we usually take a break here, and Christian and I will sit here and go back and forth for 5 minutes about who our picks are going to be because we're always changing them.
Yep.
But let's do it right now live. I'll go first. I'll bite the bullet.
Ever.
Yep. Oh man, see now my number plates are kind of out of order here, but we're gonna figure this out. This is what I'm doing right here. I'm going Ken Roczen for the win. The guy's got the best average start. He's led laps in the last 7 out of the last 9 rounds. I'm going to go him first. Oh, where'd Tomac go? Bear with me, folks. Struggle
right
can't be real. Oh, we got it right here.
Here, tag team.
Tag team. Okay. Roczen first. Tomac second. Let's see. I'm going to go Cooper Webb for third. No, I'm going to go AC third. Put AC in there for me. Do I have? You got his number plate.
There's Anderson. We know he's going to be in there.
I'm going to go Webb for 4th place. I'm going to go AC third. Struggle is real right now. You guys are seeing how this happens.
Behind the scenes type
stuff. But that's all right. I like it. Okay, my 5th place rider, I'm going to go Blake Baggett. There he is right there. That is Blake. 5th place for Blake Baggett. And for the
6th.
For the wild card, he did a 3-peat this year. He's going to do it a 4th-time. Vince Freeze for the wild card. Those are my top 5. I want you guys to comment below. Shane Wilkerson's got Eli Tomac, Roczen, Baggett, AC, Brayton, and 5th.
That'd be almost as shocking as him winning Daytona.
Rich H has got Kenny, Tomac, Webb, AC, Wilson.
Bloss locked in.
Rich, I'm going to disagree with you respectfully on that. Bloss is better than 15th.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Okay, my picks are let's get to it here.
All right. What do you
got? We got Roczen and AC between one of them two for the win for me. Okay. I'm going to agree with you. Roczen probably has the best chance, but I need points. So I need to make up points. I'm going to go with AC first, Roczen second, Tomac third, Webb 4th, and I love Baggett. I really do. But I'm going Anderson 5th. Wild card, let's go Tyler Bowers.
Ooh, I like it. That's a solid pick.
So
Brock Hall here. He's got Tomac, Roczen, Webb, Barsha, Anderson, and Bowers. You guys, some of these people wondering why is the last race show as Arlington. Don't worry, we'll get that
fixed.
Getting
updated.
Yeah, we're getting that updated for you guys. But Dirt Doll MX, you've got Kenny, AC, Eli, Anderson, Wilson, and Plessinger in the wild card?
I see Plessinger a little ahead of that, but I don't know. You never know.
But anyway, there they are. Those are our picks locked in. What do you guys think?
51. They're questioning why is he not in there. The question is, who do you take out to put Barsha in?
My problem with Barsha is his starts have not been good. And we just heard it from Daniel. This is not a track where you can get a worse than 7th or 8th place start and really make any waves.
Unless your name's Eli Tomac.
So unless Barsha's kind of figures something out during the break, I just don't trust his starts right now.
I agree.
So that's where I'm at. That's what do you guys think?
7 deuce wild card. We got to give that man. He's capable of it.
We need to get him to call in.
I know we
do. But there they are. They are locked in now. Let's talk about why you want to be playing RMFantasySX. And here they are, the weekly prizes. So we talked about them earlier in the show, but Christian, let's give these people what they want. Tell them what they can win this week for round 11.
I mean, they're not even weekly prizes. We're going into bi-weekly prizes.
That's true. There's a lot of prizes to give away.
This round, the top scorer with the best timestamp is going to win 2 sets of Bridgestone Battlecross tires plus Supercross 3, the video game. Whoever wins that needs to challenge Benny Bloss. I heard he's pretty good at that. Second place, Bell Moto 9 MIPS helmet. Then we're going to a $400 Cherubi spending spree. Other prizes from O'Neill, Pro Honda. $250 Tusk Tool spending spree. Everyone could use that.
Not bad.
Matrix Concepts, Fox Casual spending spree. Prizes from ODI, Fly, and of course $90 $10 Rocky Mountain gift cards.
That's right. Will Schumann says we're way off on our picks.
He's probably right.
He could be, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. Justin Payton, good to see you. Yes, snap, we are live. All right, grand prizes, let's talk about it here. Oh, these are good. First place, you're taking home a race prepped KTM 450 SXF Factory Edition. And this year we brought 2 smokes back, make them great again. So we've got a KTM 250 SX race prepped. We've got a VIP trip to Monster Energy Cup, Dunlop tires for a year. Alpine Stars is in the mix. Tusk Impact wheel set with a Honda generator. Fly Racing's there. Milestone video game, Supercross 3 to game, and a 4K TV and a console.
That's nice.
Oh, Motion Pro tool package, Oakley goggles, and sunglasses. And here's the best part, peeps. It is free. All you got to do is go to RMFantasySX.com. You create your account. You make your top 5 picks. You make the wild card. Christian and I are here. We're here to help you out. We give you these stats to help you make your picks. So if you're not sure, we help you out. Make your picks, your wild card, and then sit back, relax. You enjoy Supercross even more because you're going to scream your head off over 5th place, over 15th, 10th, whatever the wild card is. Something that you never do.
I mean, you get a house full of people playing fantasy, watching the race. It's a madhouse. So.
And the last thing I will say is that it doesn't matter when you sign up. You can always be in the hunt for weekly prizes. We give away 100 each week. There's a top 10 plus 90 Rocky Mountain ATVMC gift cards. So you can get on our website and pick up some good merch, some parts and accessories for your bike, your ATV, whatever it is. It don't matter.
Yep.
Go to RockyMountainATVMC.com to get all your needs to have a good time.
Also, make sure you hit the calendar reminder on the fantasy website so you get notified. I mean, we're getting quick turnarounds and the times are shifting. Don't get caught off guard.
Yep.
And join our group, RMFantasySXperts. The guy leading our group, he's 12th overall, was commenting here before, so.
Nice.
We must be doing something right, helping somebody.
Create your groups, join groups. It is an absolute blast.
Yep.
And so remember, we're going to be here right after practice each and every week. So look at that schedule in the link. Go to supercrosslive.com to see what it's going to be. And it is 12:16 on my laptop right now, which means picks close in 44 minutes. So get your picks in. Do not delay and have an absolute blast watching Supercross tonight.
I'm just saying right now, we got a few minutes. If you have any questions, stats you want us to look up, talk about a rider, throw them in there. We can dig up something for you to help you put in those picks last minute because, I mean, this is a round like we've never had before. So
well, I don't know. Anvy wants us to talk to him. He seems a little upset there. I'm sorry, man. We're trying to get to you guys. But Matias Force, he doesn't have a question, but he says he loves my beard. It's not dyed, by the way. A lot of people think I dye my beard. I do not. It's just dark. Okay.
I like the good, solid picks, guys. Tomac for the win. Brian White leather. So I'm liking that one.
Russ Savage loves the live streams. Hopefully we can keep these going. We're thinking about doing it next year too. So if you guys are liking it and you're interacting.
Live stream is awesome, but having the practice and qualifying to talk about is also awesome. So
that is right. But let's see. Lancer 2004. Are you guys going to having to deal with the riots? Yeah, we did have something going on yesterday. It was kind of scary, but it looks like they've calmed down a little bit. Not going to affect racing.
No.
But
I'm just liking all these 7 Deuce love. If he takes 15th, we got to get that man on the phone.
So one guy, Poole here, said, do you think Tomac's newest addition, because he did have a baby in May, is going to take his focus off? Heck no, I think it's going to motivate him even more.
I mean, look at Osborne. Started having kids, too, and he got better. So
Who wouldn't want to be able to tell their son that they won the Monster Energy Supercross Championship?
I mean, we also got another new dad in the building. So, I mean, what did that do to your riding?
Right here, yeah.
So, congrats.
Got Quincy Marie Cook. She was born April Fool's Day, baby. She's doing good. I'm almost glad we had this break so I could have some time to hang out with her. But
so, I think that motivates you more once you have a kid. You're going to be more in wanting to win. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to affect him.
Webb, where did he qualify at? Thomas Killer wants to know. Or Clyer wants to know where Webb finished or qualified.
Let's pull him up. Webb qualified 4th.
4th place. Right there. We have it on the screen. There is your qualifying results if you guys haven't seen them already. Mm-hmm. So check those out. Use those to help make your picks. AC, finally not the fastest qualifier. What did he do, like 7 in a row?
Yeah, until he crashed out.
He crashed out. Yeah,
there was somebody, I might have missed you. Somebody told me, oh, here we go, John Borick. Christian needs points, and he puts AC in number 1. LOL. Hey, if he wins, I'm coming back at you. That happened a few years ago, and I got a shirt out of it.
William Weber thinks Webb's going to pass rocks on the last lap again.
Ooh. I want to know where you're putting AC. If you don't pick him to win, where would you put him up? I genuinely want to know. Marco
Zavala, what do I think about Reed on a KTM? I don't think it's going to go too well. Reed is probably, from what I've seen, the most picky. He's the pickiest rider I've ever seen on a dirt bike. Yeah. And to try and switch bikes halfway through a season like that, that is tough to do.
Oh, there goes John Borick. He's coming back with a 4th, so he's not. He just thinks it's crazy in 1st, I guess.
Yeah. Wendy Goodchild, thank you very much, Wendy. Stoked. Mm-hmm. First-time parent. 94 for the win from Corey Tryon. Corey, what's happening? I've actually
here's a good question. Guy. Brian Schaefer. Are my Indy picks considered rollover or eligible for weekly prizes? If you submitted picks for what would have been Indy, those are just getting carried over.
But they're not rollover picks.
No, they're not rollovers.
So you still can win a weekly prize if your picks are good tonight.
Go double check. Make sure your picks submitted. Everything's good there just to be safe. But I like Ruben. Any of the riders play RM Fantasy. None that would talk about it. Yeah. But we get some talk from the riders that
Mike
love
Alessi for the low win.
I'm just saying, if you're going to play fantasy, you do it in a positive way. You don't ever want to be spewing any hate, anger towards these riders. They got enough to worry about. We don't have no time for that.
Well, hey, there you have it. Thanks for all your questions. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We appreciate it so much. It's been an absolute blast, and we cannot wait to get back to it this Wednesday. Remember, Sundays and Wednesdays are the races.
Yes.
Check the schedule.
Yep.
But,
be on it.
Get over to RMFantasySX.com. If you haven't signed up yet, remember you can still get your picks in, win those weekly prizes. Have an absolute blast tonight. Good luck to all the riders that are out there. Good luck to everyone with your picks.
Where's
Have
AC?
fun. Stay
me see
safe.
that.
What are you doing?
For the win.
Oh, my.
Calling it right now.
Nah, K-Rock. All right, guys. We appreciate you watching, chiming in. We loved all the comments. Can't wait to do it again on Wednesday. I am Chase.
I'm Christian.
We'll see you soon.